Hello again, this is Dr. Kevin Connors. Continuing our series on apoptosis. So this is Apoptosis 201, your next level course. Last time we spoke about the difference between apoptosis and necrosis. While apoptosis is a conservation or a recycling of all the genetic material, all the cellular material, and necrosis is basically the destruction of the cell, usually, well, always pathological in necrosis. Apoptosis can be pathological, but usually we think of it as a normal physiological response, where necrosis is not a normal physiological response per se. You could say it's a normal physiological response in the event of an enemy attack, but it is destruction. So why does apoptosis take place? Why is this so important? Well, there are normal physiological reasons for apoptosis. It's normal in pruning. So if anybody has ever had a garden or apple trees or fruit trees, if you don't prune your garden, if you don't take care of it in that way, you're never going to have a good crop of apples. You have to prune your garden. You have to pick the weeds. You have to take care of it in order to grow a good crop. So there is pruning that takes place from a neurological perspective, from a brain science perspective. We talk about your neurons get pruned. Your neurons work on a use it or lose it basis. So do your muscle cells. If you don't use them, your body sees them as unimportant, and they will go through apoptosis and be destroyed. They're not needed. So you have to use your body in order to keep those cells. Also, there are certain tissues that are hormone-dependent tissues, like endometrial tissues, women's breasts post-lactation after they have a baby. There's a infiltration of new cells for making milk after the baby's done lactating. Those cells go through apoptosis and are destroyed. There's no need for them. During a normal cycle, a woman's cycle goes through, the endometrial tissue goes through proliferation and apoptosis. So that's a normal process, a normal physiological process. It's a way to get rid of those cells that are not needed anymore. Cells that are necessary during development that aren't necessary after development go through apoptosis. So again, apoptosis is the way to recycle cells that aren't needed for that a person's well-being at this point on. So the example would be specific T cells and autoantigens and bone marrow cells go through apoptosis after they've served their purpose. And really all cell lines, not every cell line, most of your heart cells don't go through apoptosis, but most of your cell lines, once they reproduce, go through apoptosis. It has been said that you have a brand new body, which isn't completely true, but for the most part, you do have a brand new body in most cell lines every about 12 to 24 weeks as those cells reproduce another cell, and the mother cell, you could say, dies. It goes through apoptosis. Your body gets rid of it. You just have too many cells in your body. So we reproduce a new cell in order for it to do its job, and the old cell dies. That is normal apoptosis. Now, there are some pathological reasons that you go through apoptosis. Any severe damage to the cell is going to cause the cell to die. So this could be purposeful. Let's say if somebody goes through radiation or chemotherapy in a purposeful attempt to kill a cell that is in rapid replication, that is a cancer cell. But the problem is you damage any cell with radiation or chemotherapy, and you risk it going through apoptosis. That's just what happens. That's the negative side of radiation and chemotherapy, is you're not just killing cancer cells, you're killing every cell. So not a good thing. But there's other pathological reasons. If there's thermal injury, or if you go through a time where there's no oxygen to the cell, any damage that's going to occur to the DNA, the endoplasmic reticulum, a viral infection, because remember, viruses go inside the cell, and your immune system can recognize that there's a virus inside the cell by a little receptor that comes out on the cell membrane, and the immune system can destroy that cell and basically gobble it up, and in hence doing, it kills the virus. That's how your body will kill a virus. Also, if the tumor suppressor gene is activated. Now, we talk a lot about the tumor suppressor genes in our cancer series. And those are very important because those are the genes that can become deactivated when somebody has cancer. So a tumor suppressor gene is a gene that turns on the apoptosis cycle. And we'll talk more about that in our later weeks here on apoptosis. But tumor suppressor genes turn on apoptosis. When a person has cancer, the problem is tumor suppressor genes are turned off or disabled. Or a person has a genetic trait where they don't have certain tumor suppressor genes. So when a tumor suppressor gene is activated or turned on, it activates apoptosis. Excuse me. And that's a good thing, right? It is usually only turned on when there is rapid replication. So that is the body's defense against cancer. So you have cancer that's starting to grow in your body, tumor suppressor genes. In this picture, the p53 gene, which is a very important tumor suppressor gene, stimulates apoptosis and helps kill that cancer. So apoptosis is important. There's pathological reasons for apoptosis. A person has cancer and the tumor suppressor genes turned on, a viral infection, any stress to the cell, any damage to the cell. And there's normal physiological reasons. So that's the way your body cleans up itself and keeps your body healthy, is cells that once they reproduce, they go through apoptosis. And that's what's broken, this cycle of apoptosis. That's the first thing that's broken in order for a person to get cancer. You can't have cancer unless apoptosis is not taking place. We'll talk more about that in our next lecture. There's really two pathways, so we're going to get into it a little deeper. So stay tuned. More information is in the book, so you can feel free to download the book, and feel free to go up into that left-hand corner and go on our clinic website. Our new clinic website has a lot of information that we're adding all the time. Dr. Kevin Connors, you have a great day.